people, Deluded, I'm back again. I'm out and about, familiar but different surroundings. I'm not at home, I'm on the busy London streets, and as you can hear from the background noise, apologies for that, that's exactly what we're doing. You can see I've been to Ryman's, not sure if you can actually see, but I've got some boxes behind me on top of my bag. Day in the life of being in an office and being at the bottom. Lord knows I hate certain aspects of my role, but you have to do it, people. And I know my employers are watching, so let me not talk too tough on this. But moving on, people, I'm sure you all saw the Europa League, or you've seen Arsenal's highlights in relation to the Europa League, people. And what I mean by that is specifically, obviously, our young players, how our young players did. Now, obviously, apologies, people, I'm not going to lie to you. My bag was juking me in my back, people, so I feel a bit better now. But like I said, specifically for the young players. Now, Lacazette, Saka-Reiss, David Luiz, there's a couple players there that had an opportunity to impress that have been out of favour, whether it's been poor form or the team lacking balance or just not pulling their weight. There was a carrot for them to play. Now, to be fair, I think Ljungberg's already made his decision purely because 3 games in a week. West Ham, you saw his team, he knew certain players were going to be rested, and he's probably got one eye from yesterday's game, quite rightly so, in relation to Sunday, the reigning champions Manchester City. So I think his team was decided in these games. Obviously, maybe Holding's injury, Tierney's injury, definitely Bellerin, and maybe Xhaka's concussion might have tipped the balance. I'm not no head specialist or anything like that, but I'd imagine Xhaka is a case of he's probably fit and healthy, but is, you know, with concussions coming to light in today's game even more, and they're more protection, it's prevention better than cure, and there's certain sign-offs he's got to complete. So I don't know at this moment in time if Xhaka's in training or back in training. He obviously missed Thursday, but I imagine Xhaka would be back into the fold. We know Tierney's out for 3 months. We know Ceballos is not going to be involved potentially until next year in terms of Arsenal. Maybe our last fixture of the calendar month, he'll be in the matchday squad. So yeah, Lacazette scored, and that's all you can do. But other than that, he didn't have the best of games. David Luiz, simple balls over the top against Standard Liège. Lord knows what you're going to do against Gab Jesus, Sergio, if he's fit, I don't know, to be honest with you people. And the rest of their attackers, it doesn't look good, does it? In relation to our young players, they can only play what's in front of you. Now, I sit on the fence with young players. You lot know me, I've got that Wenger about me, and rightly so. You don't know what you're going to get from young players. You've seen fans turn on Saka, now Saka's flavour of the month. You've seen it with Joe, Maitland, Nelson, all of these players, people. They're still developing. Now, that's not an excuse. Constructive criticism for all. Obviously, we need to be not lenient, but you need to have a bit more time for these young, really inexperienced players than you would have for people that are mid-20s, late 20s to early 30s making the same mistakes. But we don't. What these young players are trying to do is first and foremost improve, gain consistency. We really don't know. Like, our most consistent young players, I would say, is probably Martinelli and Saka. If I was to throw them in for 10 games, I think they'd hold their own and play well because they've shown it in patches. But we don't know. Like you saw with Saka, he had some quality games like yesterday. He also had some below par games. He's developing. We have to critique them as they improve, but you have to allow it a bit. And I do think people are in extremes, because especially with Nelson, people that were so quick to call these guys the next this and that, they're turning on them with equal energy, and football is illogical. I thought I would look at some of these young players' performances and offer my opinions. Now, we might as well start with Bukayo Saka, the easiest one. He was quality yesterday. Take away his goals, take away his goal and assist, take away the fact that we got out of jail and drew a game where we should have lost. I think he was playing well. I think what I like about Saka is obviously he doesn't want to play as a wing-back, but he's got positive attitude. He played there and he did it well, like he's done at Arsenal's 23s and 18s previously, and for England at youth level. Not to put him to Maitland-Niles, but that's what I mean. It's about, do you want to make it at this club or not? Because Saka wants to be a winger, I'd assume. But there was an opportunity at left-back there. He ran with it and he doesn't look out of place. Other games you might see potential frailties, but he looked decent. Maitland-Niles has had some good games at full-back, but you don't know what you're going to get from him. I know Maitland-Niles doesn't want to be a full-back and he doesn't feel confident there, and I get it. But at the end of the day, you can't rule out being a full-back long-term. At the end of the day, if you wasn't playing full-back, how many games would you get? And just in terms of football intelligence, you should be able to lock down that role, and you might not be glaringly great at it, but be of better standard. You look at Wan-Bissaka, he wasn't a full-back when he was at Palace. Would he be at United if he was still a winger? Potentially not. He's made right back his own. So Maitland-Niles can use that to improve, but we'll get on to Maitland. Back to Saka, I like him. He's not the biggest, but he's definitely the strongest young player. One pet peeve, and you lot know me, I don't like to talk about these things. It does seem like our young players too often they're out-muscled. Like, they're getting stronger, like Nelson and Joe are getting stronger, but it's too easy to out-muscle these players frequently. And that's one pet peeve. We potentially need to bulk up, but shout out to Saka. He's one of the only players eating his jollof rice, potentially his curry goat and jerk chicken and rice and peas and all them things there. You know Saka asks for seconds from his parents when he eats. He's the only sort of firm one. But on a serious note, it was a lovely assist. It was a lovely goal from him. I like Saka. What I like about him is that from seeing him even as a 15, 16-year-old with the 18s, then the step up to 23s and so on, he takes it all in his stride. Obviously, he's a young player. When he played at the Emirates, he must have been a bit nervous, but he doesn't let it show. He doesn't let it faze him. He's got that good temperament. And I like his playing style. It's simple but effective. He knows when to dribble. He knows when to pass it. Obviously, it's just about fine-tuning, because he did have some opportunities in the first half, potentially could have taken advantage of. But on the basis that he was our fullback in that game and he was our best goal threat, you know, you see what you're saying, Saka, you know what you're getting from Saka. Moving on from Saka, I really liked Emile Smith Rowe's performance. Weren't amazing, played on the right, because he's young and youthful. You even see Mkhitaryan and those when they play out wide, they're creative players, they want to come inside. You were seeing that with Emile. Obviously, Emile's a good passer, a good dribbler. For him, he needs to stay fit, and for me, it's about fine-tuning things, making the right decisions at all times. And he does the right things, like he shoots when he's supposed to, but could we put more quality on them shots? Could we potentially do things quicker? He's only going to get that with experience and staying fit. And obviously, the positions he plays in are a bit clogged. I think he's good enough to get games here. But if I'm him, if I'm Nelson, potentially Maitland-Niles, you're going to get games under LJUNGBERG, because he's giving you he said he will, and he's backing it. Is there a potential to go out on loan and play more? I think people are too quick to cast these guys off, because they build them up as the next thing and then they see that they're developing. Give these guys time, man. I'm not here to say everybody's going to be a star player. In my opinion, it doesn't matter, but I believe everybody of some capacity, that the names I've said I'm going to say, can make it in this team of some capacity within the 26 squad. Naturally, players are going to fall by the wayside. So I think Emile had a good game. I'd describe Nelson's game as a so-so, 5/6 out of 10. I don't think he was appalling. I think with Nelson, the big thing is confidence, man. I think he needs to get back feeling confident, feeling he can do everything, bravado, whether it pays off or not. Because he does seem like his head is down at the moment, and maybe it's not, but that's just my opinion. I believe in Nelson. I think he can be a player of some stature for Arsenal, potentially get called up from England if he develops. I'm not here to say he's going to be a world beater, because I believe him and Chelsea's Hudson-Odoi, they're both going through the same things. People that build them up to be the next this and that, and now writing them off unnecessarily. They're still what? Nelson's just turned 20. The key thing is everybody's developing at different rates, people. There's a case for loans, but you need to consider that loans aren't always the best aspect for every player. Not everyone who goes out on loan is going to develop. Not everybody who stays at the club is going to develop. They're all developing at different rates. Saka takes things in his stride. Nelson probably needs a bit more of an arm around him. So we can't always have a white and black scenario of he's playing well, he's not. Of course, you've got to be careful, and not all of these players are going to make it, and there's cases for other short-term solutions. But I think Nelson played all right. I think he's going to be a good player. His passes was there. He done all right on the left-hand side. Him and Saka look like they're going to make something happen. Final ball evidently can improve. His set piece, and for me, set piece taking yesterday was poor. That can improve. Fine-tuning everything. And obviously goals and assists make the difference. Decision making at times isn't the best, and the angles in which he receives the balls at times, for me, I'm no coach, but it seems like he's picking up the balls in areas you're not necessarily going to hurt the team, or it's quite crowded, so there's work to be done. But I still believe in Nelson. So you obviously had them. I like Joe, but similar to Guendouzi yesterday, they need to learn the dark arts of the game. Joe Willock is at that stage now where he's come through. He's a young player, he's going to get experience, but if he wants to be first name in the team sheet, the LJUNGBERG and the team have to help him improve, but he's got to improve himself. That mistake he made yesterday, I'm a big Joe fan, but you got to hold your hands up, defend first. That was a brainless decision. Obviously, we could have done better in the build-up, but you just get your foot through that and clear it. It doesn't happen. And that just sums up Joe Willock defensively for me. He puts in work, but you look at a couple of times against Liverpool, he fails to track midfield runners, or he's not aware. If he's going to be a central midfield player, not just him, Guendouzi needs to improve at that. Hell, the experienced players, Xhaka and Torreira, as much as I love Torreira, midfield runners is a problem at the team. So I'm not scapegoating Joe Willock, I'm just looking individually at these guys' performances. And Joe is of particular importance to me because I really like him a lot. And with all of these young players, I don't want us to make the mistake of last crop, where we get to a point where these lot are like 20, 23, We don't know what they are. We're still saying he's best out wide, he's best in the middle, he's best in this central midfield role. Do you get it? As we did have at a point with Wilshere, Ramsey, Ox, whether they've all gone off to have success elsewhere or gone on to establish themselves. There was a period like that. We need to, what midfielder specifically is Joe going to be? For me, he's not a 10. Is he going to be a box-to-box? I like him in the deep-lying playmaker role, more withdrawn. He was actually, since he's come into the first team, it was a surprise for me. It's just mainly off the ball where he's got to improve. We just really got to really think, okay, with Guendouzi and Joe, what midfielders do we want them to be? How are they going to tie into the future of our team? Obviously, Martinelli barely played, but Martinelli, you know, he's a savage, he's a great footballer. I've got a lot of time for him. Tyrese John-Jules was unlucky not to come off the bench, unfortunately. Below that, at academy level, players I believe should get chances. I believe Sam Greenwood's done well. Potentially got to bang it a bit more in the under-23s, in which, because obviously Tyrese didn't play, he might play on Friday for the 23s, but I'd back Sam Greenwood to play. Ben Cotterill, who's been playing well for the 18s and 23s, recently went off with Arsenal to Indonesia and participated in tournaments in Bali, as did Greenwood. Believe he should get chances. In terms of who's been playing well and deserved chances, I believe Trey Coyle as well. Look, he's been playing quite well this season. Obviously, Ljungberg's getting a lot of these players training with the first team, so it's a matter of timing. And even if they're not involved, there should be inspiration that if they play well, somebody's watching and they could get a look in. Final words in relation to Saka's appearance yesterday, people. He said on winning the group, he said, first and foremost on his performance, it was beautiful for me because that's what I'm judged on, scoring and assisting. So to score and assist, to score and to make one is a good night. It's a great feeling to top the group because on the pitch we didn't know the Frankfurt score and we're pushing for the third goal. But Freddie was trying to tell us that Frankfurt were down. Everyone came into the dressing room and found out we were top of the table. So we got out of jail, but you can only play what's in front of you. Like I said, man, I really believe Martinelli and Saka in particular can be really good players for this team. I believe in Emile Smith Rowe and also Nelson. I believe they can be good players in this team. It's down to them what stature they want to be. I believe in all of these young players, people. Obviously, some will naturally not make it at this club, not just the names I've said, but everybody. But I believe everyone can have a decent career, and crucially, everybody's developing at different rates. I missed out Maitland-Niles, but Maitland-Niles is at that point where he's broken into the first team and he's becoming a forgotten man in that he'll come in for rotation, he'll come in at fullback. He's not going to get a look in on the flanks. Midfield, I don't know if he'll get a look in because he's not being given one. I personally believe he can get a look in midfield. Fullback, he's had some decent games, but he's had some woeful games, and he's shown no improvement in improving defensively. Regardless of where he wants to end up on the football field, he's got to improve defensively. I love Maitland-Niles. I love that he's calm on the ball, but it also goes against him. Potentially, you could say, for him, from a selfish point of view, there could be a case to go out on loan and play consistent football somewhere, because he hasn't been making matchday squads generally up until recent under Ljungberg. But I believe in Maitland-Niles. I believe he can be a good squad player. Not everybody needs to be the next Jack Wilshere or first name on the team sheet sort of thing. Some people just need to plug holes within the team. Do you get it, people? Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool's gone on to become a first-team player and a quality player. But let's just suppose he became a second-choice competent fullback to be called upon. Obviously, because of how great he is, and I love Trent, he's saved, Lord knows how much money he saved Liverpool, because you'd imagine him and Chilwell, or Chilwell's going to go for anything from 50 up. How much would Trent have gone for if he was at Leicester and Liverpool wanted him? Do you get it? So the money they've saved, you can't really put a price on that. People always look at you in central London like you're a weirdo recording. Is what it is. But on that note, people, DG, thank you for persisting. I'm out, man. Just wanted to offer some notes.